控えたいんです。あなたならナークも懐いてますし。
なんだ急に。わかった。それで構わない。
本当ですか？それでは。これであなたが主人です。
わかった。なかなか。
Unnamed Memory, episode number 6. Also really fast. Excuse the junk behind me. Do a little bit of reshaping of my office area. So excuse the Pikachu. Okay, Unnamed Memory though, episode number 6. And here's the thing, my friend. I both love and hate where Unnamed Memory is going. Let me talk about the love part first, and then I'll talk about the hate. So the love piece of it is I love that Oscar is really powerful. And the Witch of the Azure Moon, right, our Tinasha girl, she has recognized his power. And because the real enemy all of a sudden has appeared, she decided to kind of like put together his defensive barrier and make it so that he wouldn't be taken as a threat in the moment, but ultimately like he is kind of like the ultimate threat kind of to the witches based on the sword that he wields and the exponential growth that he's kind of displayed under Tinasha's tutelage. On top of that, she also gifted him her dragon, which is an extremely important fact because that further bolsters or further enhances his power overall, is the fact that he has this dragon familiar gifted from Tinasha. So Oscar is like the big, he's the hero essentially in the story. The other part of the love is I do love that we got to learn Tinasha's backstory, and very crazy backstory, by the way. And her backstory, in a nutshell, in a 10-second rambling, basically involves her being not taken advantage of, how do you say it? Her being manipulated, or her being backstabbed, I guess you should say, by her fiance, which is this Ragnarok guy. And he basically was trying to do like some kind of like ceremony or something like that. And he decided to stab the shit out of her and take her power to, bolster his power kind of stuff. She ended up not taking kind to that, and her power kind of went out of control. And she single-handedly ended the empire, like the whole country. Like she absorbed the whole country in one go, in one night, not out of her control or volition, right? Just because her power went out of control. And she sucked every soul, and she destroyed her whole country in one night. And that's what made her a witch, is all that magical energy that she absorbed. And that put her into witch status. And this Ragnak guy was like the catalyst for that event happening. So very tumultuous and very kind of story that made her into what she is. So obviously the next thing is she's doing what she's doing now because there's no way, shape, or form that she's not doing it for revenge. That's my take on that. So that's kind of the love piece of it. And I guess the last love piece is the end, where Oscar really just kind of defined, this is what I want. I will go, I will fight, I will not kill her. I will bring her back, and I will kill that guy. So he just basically, black and white, clearly defined exactly what he will and will not do. And that also led, because he's pretty definitive in his words, that also led his dad to saying, okay, but you gotta take the throne, homie. Like, you want to do, like, your country now. So I like that all quite a bit. All right, now the hate part, okay? The second part of this is the hate. The hate part is the predictability of the story. We know Tinasha, also Tinasha allowed our boy Oscar to kiss her, which is the first time, which I thought was like, ooh, we getting steamy. But at the same time, it's like, bitch, like you gonna let him do this because you're ready to leave. So she sensed this Ragnarok guy. So here's the hate points: is I hate the story's pretty predictable in the fact that she loves Oscar, but it's kind of one of those if you love him, let it go kind of thing. She needs to put herself first in her revenge, and she understands that her revenge is kind of her undoing kind of thing. She understands that by getting her revenge, she might have to inevitably do a lot of nasty ass things, and that might lead her being killed by Oscar. That point blank. I mean, there's no other way to say it. This point blank. The next thing is she gave him his dragon, or her dragon, again, because she sees, what's going to happen. And then I guess kind of like the last hate part is the enemy, Ragnarok himself. He seemed to have gotten caught up in that Mana disaster. And if her power, maybe he had teleportation magic, okay? Maybe he just, he had teleportation magic. But if her power went so out of control that it basically took her whole empire, her whole country in one swoop, there's no way that this boy, who was not anywhere near as powerful as she was before she absorbed all this shit, he could have escaped. Okay, so that's another hate part. It's like, okay, well, what's his real story here? The other part is only witches live this long, so how is he here? How is he here 400 years later? It's impossible. The last part is one that Oscar pointed out, which is this dude doesn't look like he's himself. He looks like he's possessed. He looks like he's zombified. He looks like his eyes are glazed over. So it's like, okay, did he, conjure a deal with the demon or something? Or is he being controlled or manipulated? How did his body stay intact? So many questions that lead me into the hate portion of it, because I feel like they're not going to appropriately explain anything. Now, they might, but they might not. And that's what we don't know. And that's kind of like, ugh. I don't like too predictable of stories. And then we have the back and forth with Tinasha of like, okay, they obviously have feelings for each other, but then they pussyfoot around for, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes. It's like, I don't like that either. So there's some good and there's some bad. You just have to decide which one outweighs the other. For me, I'm still interested enough. I'm still engaged and entertained enough to, still want to see what comes next. But with the caveat of like, there's these other things that I would really love to be answered. And if they're not, that's okay. If these points of contention I have aren't addressed, that's okay. But then that's where it leads me into saying like, this went from a potential 8.5 out of 10 anime to like a 6.5 out of 10 anime. Still watchable. Still right there in the middle of just like you're passing the class. You got to see. Congratulations. You can live. So that's really where it is. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys coming in for another episode. As always, I'll see you next week. Deuce.